Generic greetings and welcome back once again to Prison Architect. Today's beverage is a nicely chilled pink grapefruit juice. So welcome back to Prison Architect, and previously we started a new build on this island here and spent some time doing what we could in terms of the planning because of the space available and time constraints, you understand, and well, overall I'm fairly happy with it. It's going to be a little bit more freeform than perhaps other builds, and that's actually quite liberating, truth be told. There's still some changes to be made, but we'll get onto those in a moment. But the idea was to have a mainly gang facility with 3 distinct separate cell blocks where we could segregate the inmates based on their gang affiliation if they have one, so bone breakers, jackals, vipers, etc. So hopefully there's not going to be immediate brawls in each of the areas, but well, it's a gang facility, so we'll see how we get on. Either way, we're going to crack on with some building here. A couple of changes to be made, mainly based on feedback, you understand. Firstly, the easy ones, so over here, for example, where I just got the measurements slightly wrong. It wasn't actually just it wasn't terribly wrong, it was just slightly misaligned, and well, we don't want any of that. Also over here, the internals of this is 22, but it'd actually be a little bit bigger because, well, as you can see, there's a gap of 2 there and only 1 up there, so we're going to change that, and that means actually moving everything down, which I don't mind at all because, well, as you can see, it's going to mean that everything pretty much lines up, so that's really handy. So let's do just that. I'll see if I can actually get this correct. So we'll go over to our pathways, and then the pathway will run across there. These will connect up like so. This is going to be a distance of, was it 5? Let me just double check. So it is from there to there, which is 5, there to there, which is 5. So that means that the wall will come across and then obviously enter here. This is where we will have our, where is it, some doors like that, and then some metal detectors. I didn't actually plan those off in the previous one. And then all of this I can set like so, because then we are going to remove a section like this. So we'll have essentially gap 2 on the top and bottom, and then these will hopefully line up correctly, and it should be a 3x4, which to me that looks about right. So yeah, all good. This one will have to also shift. I'll just do something like that. I probably still going to make the gaps here just to allow free flow of the inmates, but also now it's much better on the top and bottom, I think. There we go, there's all of that. Over here I am going to put on another building, and this is going to be, well, mainly I don't have a power room, so I needed something. So you want a 7x7. That is not actually, no, you don't need a 7x7. What you need is an area for the power, which is going to be like that. Let me just double check the power station utilities there, and then it goes around. So it's actually a 5x5, and then a bit more for the water. So that will be sufficient, something like that, and then you need water, so I can just build this along like so. It probably doesn't need this facility any more than 1 power room, and yes, I am going to go with a power room as opposed to green energy. I might change my mind on that one, but we'll see how we get on. This is probably going to go a little bit further. Actually, I'm going to probably build it out on both sides, even though it's going to look a little bit dodgy there, but that's not too much of an issue. It'll be something like that. So hang on, objects, so it'll be a 5x5, and then you've got some water there as well with a little bit of a gap. Perfect. So we're going to keep that. Just to iron this out, I am going to go over to sand and just make sure that we can at least get workers going around the outside. And speaking of sand, I'm going to go over here and I'm going to put in a fairly big lump of it, because we're going to make some fairly big changes over on this area here, because, well, as a couple of people have rightly pointed out, we have 1, 2, 3 cell blocks, and that's fine. That was always the plan. However, I did say, obviously, we wanted protective custody, and I said, this will probably do. But as has been rightly commented on, what we do have as well is the opportunity for reform, for gang rehabilitation, which, in my experience of the game, is exceptionally difficult. It just doesn't seem to work, and your mileage may vary on that one. I'm just putting these little bits in here for flavour, you understand. Yeah, I've had very little success with it. So you can reform gang members and then go for tattoo removal and things like that. So there's lots of options in the game for it. It's just I've not, as I said, had any success with it. However, we have a huge amount of space here which is not being used. So I want to move over protective custody and roll that in with gang rehabilitation. So it's going to be protective custody. So things like ex-law enforcement, ex-prison guards, snitches, etc. Those are going to go in the same area as anyone that's reformed, and that's going to be the idea for it. Now, whether or not it's going to work is a TBC. Yeah, to be confirmed. However, this area here, I am going to make some fairly drastic changes. I have previously had a facility, several facilities actually, where we have gang leaders. And the gang leaders, we've completely sectioned them off from the rest of the facility. Now, we don't have them as a permanent punishment, you understand. This is going to be a 5x6. We don't have this as a permanent punishment, but we do have an area where basically we'll change all three gang leaders to, say, Supermax. It doesn't actually matter what category, just as long as it's their own category, so them three. And then they can only go in and around here. So they still technically have free reign. They're not getting escorted to their cells and being forced in there for a permanent punishment. However, what we are doing is saying, well, look, this is, where they now go and they can't leave, which means they don't then recruit lieutenants. Lieutenants then don't give orders. So it actually really reduces the amount of work that you have to do within the facility. Now, whether or not this will be a long-term thing or this is just a trial for now, I don't really know, but I'm just extending this to give us those options. So we will still have doors in like so. So obviously almost everything can go in there. We can have separate buildings in here. Surely that flooring is planned. Yes, it is. So we can have separate rooms and stuff in here. So things like, well, mainly there's only going to be, I guess, a canteen. There'll be maybe a small amount of, I was going to say small amount of reform, but there won't be any point in that either. So yeah, this will almost certainly just be for the gang leaders, and then this is sort of an open area. What I'll do is I'll section this little bit off and say, look, there's potential for 2 other rooms, okay? Because this can be like canteen and a common room, things like that. This will still be this one here. It'll still be a security room, so we should be okay then. Right, over to the big change, and it's going to be in this area. So this is where I want our reformed gang members, or the ones that are trying to go through reform. I don't know exactly how it's going to work just yet. I can worry about that once I've got other things in place, but I need to make provision for protective custody and people that have came from gangs and have left them. That's the idea in here, and I want to do that by making some rooms in the top and bottom. I'm going to make them a distance of 7 either side, so we're going to have almost certainly 3 rooms like so. So this is going to be a 6x5x6. Yes, there we go. So it's going to be a 6. Let me double check the measurement of that one. 6 by 5 by 6. I can just eyeball that and then check it later. Yes, and then from here we're going to have our cells, which I can probably drag them down like so, and we're going to have them as a 3 by 4, so slightly bigger than the normal cell blocks, you understand, that we've got on the rest of it, which are a 3 by 3. So already they're slightly bigger, and it sits very well. Sometimes if it fits, it sits, and we're going to run with it, so we'll do just that. So let's double check here. There will have to be a slight change, but I'll get on to that in a moment. And there we go. Okay, so we've got in a couple of areas here. Doors wise, I'm going to put I'm going to come back to that one actually. So I'm going to put doors on either side like this. Now these rooms here, these are going to be a couple of things actually. So I have opportunity, and I'm giving myself a bit of leeway here. Trying to give myself a bit of slack. And the reason for that is I don't know whether or not the people who are going to be in here will ever leave, or whether they're going to be staying in. I think they're going to be staying in, so we're going to have a canteen and a common room sort of in this central area, and then these are going to be individual rooms for things like parole and reform and tattoo removal and all of that sort of thing, anything that we can do to try and help them out. However, we can either have doors going into them like this and not going externally, or we can have them so they are, say, this could be set to like say the reform protective custody type of area, and then we can have doors where this will be like a common access point, so these guys can enter it and these guys can enter it. That's the plan. Whether or not that works with also deployment and then custom deployment around here, I don't know. But again, just giving myself a little bit of room on that one. For this area here, I'm going to do this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, because this is going to be staff only. This is going to come up, and then I want to have it as a 5 by 5 like that, because this will be almost certainly parole. So we can have a parole here so they don't have to leave. In fact, I like that so much I might even double up on this side. I don't need another security room though, but I might build further down. But that's the brief changes there. Okay, I don't actually particularly mind that one. Right. Okay. I think there might be some changes to be made. This here was this is a 4 by 4. I'm not too sure what that room would have been. Maybe a discrete security room? It's not going to be parole because it's far too small. Okay, well, we'll see how we get on. And, well, let's go ahead and delete both letters. We don't need to know those. Oh, actually, there is one more thing. I wanted somewhere to put in a helipad, and I think it's going to go in there. Let me just double check helipad. And the helipad will actually fit in nicely in that area. So shall I bodge it in? Shall I put it in there, or can it go elsewhere? Somewhere that's near the entrance, which is, well, I mean, here is sort of perfect for it, isn't it? But I need a gap of 2 all the way around the outside. So I guess I could do that. Something like let me see, is it that and that, and then we'll go for helipad, and then there's still a gap of 2 walkway around the outside. Okay, that's fine. There's actually a spare one. You see that? It says 1, so that means we've got one in stock. So I might as well place it and we'll get on with construction, because it's not going to cost any money. Okay, over 2 grants and 2. You see we've got lots of grants here, a lot of them are extras as well. We're going to go for administration centre and a basic detention centre, standard procedure there. We do have things like eco-friendly and green machine, all of the green energy ones. We might get on with that. Might. We'll have to see. In terms of the foundations and such, building brick is the usual. Concrete is an option too. I don't want to go with like rusty walls or slums or anything like that, or any of these overgrown stuff that has a decrease, a reduction in the grading. I don't think we want any of that. And similarly, I don't really want any of the coloured walls, because I don't know exactly how these are going to fare. Although, I mean, we could, or do I just go with standard procedure concrete? Yeah, okay. I might sort of mix it up a little bit. Let me go building brick for the default rooms around here. This is like, there's a couple of staff only rooms, then the rest of it maybe is concrete, maybe, or I might just, like say, rotate back to this. So what I'm going to do is build this area over here. This is going to be our staff only area. You've got a couple of areas that have got really like no purpose, like over here, for example. Although that could be a laundry, because it doesn't have a minimum size, and that should be about the right size for the amount of inmates, although it might be just a tad too small. But I can do something with that little bit of room, even if it's storage. You can always default back to it'll be storage, it's fine. But we'll put the power in. We'll make these offices. Obviously, we need an area for staff canteen, because we do have staff needs on. We need an area for, yeah, like staff canteen, a staff room. All of that, though, I don't need to bother with yet. We only need it if we are, if we have, well, the need to look after the staff needs, or close to, which is basically when you're getting inmates. So we need it closer to that time. So these guys are going to crack on over there. For this area all the way around here, Obviously, a lot of it is going to be fences, so I'll have to figure out what sort of walls I want to use. Well, while the workers are over there, let's have a quick look at our walls then. So we've got lots of options. For the external bit here, this is going to be perimeter wall eventually. Eventually, I think. I don't want it just being fence. But do I change it? Do I keep it as? Do I just do it as brick wall? If I do it as brick wall, that's actually easier because some of it is going to have to be some amount of wall anyway. Like I'm going to put a temporary wall around here because this is going to be built at the very beginning, and likewise here because this will be eventually foundation and such. But I won't be building it straight away. But I do want to at least get it secure so the rooms start to pass their yeah requirements. Yeah, they'll meet the requirements if I do that. Okay, well, let's rule out a couple of things. And I'm not going to do perimeter wall. I'm not going to use all of these rusty ones. The external walls I don't want as the coloured ones here. I think... oh, it is summer season with a weak storm. Yeah, there's that to deal with as well. I might have put... I've put a lot of options on this build, so... Yeah, we've got a lot of things turned on, so it's going to be not as frantic as the last series. I can't imagine how it even would be, where we have a constant ticking clock. Yes. However, we have other things to deal with. Okay. I think what I'm going to do then is I am going to place walls around the outside, and I'm going to go with building concrete. I think concrete is going to be a nice... Well, it's fairly default, but we'll stick with that for now. So, over to walls and doors, and then it is a jail door on there, and then on there, so that's fine. And then for our external walls, I'll be able to do this. Now, the advantage of doing it with the... what now? The most dangerous thing about a storm is the lightning. With both objects and people in danger of being struck, lightning rods will be able to redirect lightning to a degree, so make sure you protect your prisoners and its people. Yeah, so there are lightning rods in the game. It might not be unlocked, but let's have a quick look. Lightning rods there. So you can see they have an area effect, and wherever you place them, essentially they will sort of protect, hopefully, anyone that's sort of wandering near them. Now, I will place a few of them in. Let me just double check. So I'm going to go one there and one in... How am I going to line this up, actually? Let me see. I want to make it so that the lightning rod covers as much as I can possibly get in and around the yard, because that's obviously where a lot of people will be, for the most part, hanging around outside. Obviously, there's still walkways and stuff, but this is the biggest open area to worry about. So the lightning rod has to go over this walkway as well, so it can't go any further than that, and it can't go any further down because it wouldn't fit. So basically, what I'm saying is on these corners. Now, there are still sections that we've not got, which is in the middle here, and there is technically a middle. I can put one there and one there. Actually, that's a thing. That's a thing. I can get rid of those, and I can put them further up, can't I? Because if I'm going to put one in the middle, that should protect the inmates a bit more. Ooh, lightning. Okay. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do that. So it's going to be, hang on, one there and one there. And then we need to put one in... Let's see, because that covers all of that. Then it's going to be one in there. Because what I'm doing is I'm covering this line and as far up as I can away from the middle one. So it's going to be there and there. So they're now added. Obviously, there's lots of other places that we could potentially put them, like on the corners and stuff, but that is, I think, the bulk of it, where a lot of people will be sort of hanging around. And, oh, right. So, Frank, you appear to be unconscious. I believe you've been struck by lightning. I'm going to have to get some way of healing you up there. Right. Psychologist needed to show needs, and actually they were healing up slightly there. So it looks like a little bit of rest is sorting them out. Right. I don't have any infirmary added to actually heal them up. And I don't think I can even... I don't know. I can't even hire anyone to heal them up. Okay. So it looks like I'm going to have to be dealing with weather and temperature. Anyway, one thing I need to do, and I haven't done over here, is we'll put on a staff door, which is going to go on here. And then we'll probably put one... Where shall we put one? Well, I don't know exactly what's going to go in here. But I think if the door was, say, there... We'll probably have a double door, actually. Because then I can place rooms down the bottom here. Or do I want it just going in here? Actually, wait. There is probably best. A staff door there. I do want to remove that door now, but as soon as I do that, it's going to immediately remove all of this. Okay. Well, I'll let the workers crack on and do their thing. I'm not hiring any more workers because we're still in a positive daily cash flow. We've got plenty of time to crack on with things. It looks like these are getting built. Yeah, lightning rod is in, and the other ones are ordered. And congratulations on handling this calamity. Due to how well you handled the situation, you will not be charged for the associated coverage plan for the next 15 days. Keeps telling me about this coverage plan. Subsidence issues. Oh, here we go. Right, so I hate subsidence. I don't like it at all, but there's nothing much I can do about it. Okay. So, be sure to place some rebar reinforcements on your structures to keep them from falling or hire repairmen. Right, so where's subsidence? We've got subsidence already. I don't know where. Let me just let the guys crack on first. So, we've got this door to be dismantled, and I'll prioritize the removal of that. This helipad, by the way, I'm going to change. I don't want lots of stuff coming in. I certainly don't want inmates or anyone coming in on the helicopter or visitors. That's just for mainly emergencies, so I can call in air repairmen and that sort of thing. That's the idea. Yeah, you can see it's taken a while for the guys to continue building here. Let me just start running some walls in here. This is going to be our offices. This is the basic, no, not basic detention center. It's administration center. So we'll do that. We'll go to utilities. We'll go to power. We'll go to water that we don't need yet, but I'm just going to place in there. And then we're going to go for some capacitor max pluses. So I could probably sell the other one straight away. Oh, there's another boat dock as well. Okay. I'll let the workers crack on with that. Why are they not done here? They're still building it, I think. They're just taking their time. Or it could have had subsidence, or one of these guys, if they're on break, it might be ordered to do that. Did it say foundation in progress? Anyway, yes, so I'll go back to what I was saying about this here. So this is going to be some walls, and obviously a lot of this is going to be indoors, but if I do use the concrete, at least I know that I don't have to come and redo it later on. Like that. And across. And then, again, a lot of money spent on this one, but we need it eventually. There we go. Right, that's now in. And then the workers are cracking on doing whatever they need to do. So, let's go to rooms and office, and we will obviously designate all of these as the offices. Obviously, they're not built, but we'll put them in. Oh, looks like Frank has shifted. Where's Frank? There he is. No, that's Ace. They're injured as well. Was that due to lightning or subsidence? I'm not sure. Right. Okay. Well, all of this is planned. This is planned too. It's just taken the workers quite a while. Oh no, wait, hang on. Oh, there's Frank over there. They are exhausted and tired and seriously injured. They're not happy, is what I'm hearing, and I could understand. There's some power. Let's go to utilities and capacitor max plus. 3 of them should do for the time being. Power will run... I'll put a capacitor there so I can spare myself a tiny bit of electrical cable. Not that it matters, really. And then I'm going to run the power along like that. And that should power the rest of this up, which is all good. We do have a building here, which I've got nothing marked just yet. Exports. All this is set to... That's set to exports, but yeah, these rooms will have to be changed, like garbage and deliveries and such. So that's fine. Power's coming on, which is good. This is still not built though, and I don't know why. I might have to just tell them to stop building it. Or I might wait for the guys... I'll be generous. I'll wait for them to actually, you know, finish off as best they can. Although, I'm very aware that every time I place stuff like this, it's going to then slow them down even further. Here's all some chairs in here. We've got 6 officers. Oh, yes, sorry, that's what this room was. This was going to be like a foreman's office or something like that, or a psychologist. So we can have in the treatment plans. So I've got 6 officers over here. We don't need the 6. It's just... sort of force a habit that we build 6. There we go. Okay. So, that's going in all of the wall, going around. This is getting built. I will hire in a warden, and I will go for finance. And I'm not going to build any more because I'm waiting for them to crack on. Let me actually prioritize the building of this office, because as soon as one has been made, I'm hoping that the warden will go ahead and start utilizing the space. Also build that. Yeah, they've just got a little bit of building for this filing cabinet, so that's now in. That's then designated as warden's office, which means they should be researching finance, which should be making the administration center go up. Fantastic. And that light... Is that a light? No, it's not a light. It's just there's no connection there. Okay. The chief. Whoa. Our staff have become unhappy with their working conditions, and the prisons are threatened to go on strike if they don't get a 50% pay rise. Wow. Okay. That is a massive problem, because I don't have access to prison policy. Your staff will go on strike if their pay isn't increased. I can't say I've ever... if I've seen it, it's not been a while. I think it's because of maybe injured and they've got... Yeah, their needs aren't being met. Well, I don't have access to finance. Or to prison policy. Well, I'm just going to have to hope that I can get access to finance and do it. In the meantime... I'm gonna have to prioritize building of staff rooms and such. So a staff canteen is going to go in here. So we'll have serving tables along here. We'll have a door in there. And then we'll have in our usual sizing of items like that and along. And then what size is this internally? 12. So it would be that if we were going to have the same amount of staff room, but we don't need the same amount of staff room. What we do need though is staff toilets, which we don't have, because that's part of the thing they can't. Oh, actually, wait, there you go. Perfect sizing over on the right there. We can have all this as staff only. Although it might be a little bit too small. The problem is, no matter what you do, the staff toilets always look a bit dodgy, because you put like doors on here and they just don't register properly a lot of the time. It's gonna have to be that. And this I'll have some sinks and stuff on that side. Right. Did I just totally miss that out? No, the game just hasn't registered it. Staff room. And canteen. So this is just a warning and it's staff unhappy. But it's not, it doesn't say failure state, but it might be. Is this because I've got like events on and stuff like that? Well, there's not much I can do about it unless I get these areas built. But I think it's already triggered this thing here, so regardless of what happens, we have to do what it says there. Serving table. You don't need a serving table. Sorry, no, you need a serving table, but you don't need a kitchen, I don't think, because stuff gets delivered direct. Staff room is... you need wide sofas, so I'm going to go with like something like that. I'll put a couple of double doors in the middle, maybe. I haven't even put any brick walls or anything on this yet. Maybe to there. Then along here. I see, I don't think it much matters for this fairly state. And if we go on strike, I'm hoping the workers just, well, they can go on strike and do whatever they need to do. But finance is going up. Regardless of whether this is the right option or not, I don't have a choice. I just have to run with it. Because if it was policy, we still didn't have the time available to do it. There is one of the grants that will be done when I hire this accountant. There's the grant done. Speaking of grants, long-term investment, extra grant and then bank loan, and then finance, 50% pay rise. What if you just then cut it down? Yeah, you can do it. Now, the game has not shouted at me yet, but I would not be surprised if it did. And I don't think I'd be annoyed at it either, because that is being very, very unkind. Yes, we've given you the pay cut. Honest, you know. Okay. Well, that was eventful. We're going to leave it there for now. That's been a bit of Prison Architect. We've got places for them to take breaks now, but I can't look at their staff needs. I need to start looking after their needs. I need to worry about all of that. You can see the whole prison is just piecemeal. It's just, look at this stuff just not built. There's so much stuff that we're waiting to be brought in and to be built and delivered. And I can hire more staff, but obviously money is a thing as well. Either way, we're going to leave it there for now. That's been a bit of Prison Architect. We will continue on in the next episode and hopefully not fail. But we'll see how it goes. As always, hope you have enjoyed it. Comments in the comments. Take care. And generic partings.